So My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 2 is finally out. And with this new episode, we jump right back into the plot where Season 4 and where the after credit scene of Episode 1 ended. No more anime-only episodes now, we're getting right back on track. This episode covers 3 chapters from the My Hero manga, following the events of Chapter 191 all the way through Chapter 193. There is a good bit of content to cover, so let's jump right into My Hero Academia Season 5 Episode 2, Vestiges. This episode opens up following the end credit scene of the previous episode, with Endeavour and Hawks being confronted by the blue-flamed bad boy himself, Dabi. Dabi immediately lights up a burning ring of blue flames around the trio as he approaches our 2 heroes. Now this is a truly desperate situation, as Hawks and Endeavour can't actually do anything as they both have no power left after their confrontation with High End. Endeavour is all burnt out, and Hawks got them little chicken wings. Dabi, originally coming to collect the Nomu's remains, sees the 2 injured heroes, and after a quick interaction, he dashes towards Endeavour and Hawks with flaming hands and the intent to kill. However, before Dabi can even get close, his flames are whisked away by everyone's favorite rambunctious rabbit bunny badass, Mirko. Realizing he's about to get his ass absolutely whooped, Dabi says the word Ujiko, and begins to vomit out that teleportation goo that All For One used in Kamino. But right before he teleports away, he leaves Endeavour with a few words. "I'm sure we'll have time to talk someday. Don't die, Enji Todoroki." Ominous. Now, little note here. While this interaction looks like it happened privately, in the manga, a news helicopter actually spots this interaction happening. It's not really a big, relevant plot point, but for world building, it's interesting to know that the public knows the League of Villains were at the scene of the High End attack. And then it cuts to our beautiful new Season 5 opening. My personal opinion, it's alright. It's no odd future, but hey, it's enjoyable. And after the opening, we are immediately greeted by the image of Hawks holding one of his long feathers up to Dabi's neck in a dark warehouse. As it turns out, Hawks had organized a Nomu attack with Dabi. However, the original plan was for the Nomu to attack beside the dock the following day. What takes place is a cool conversation between Dabi and Hawks, where they both are one-upping each other in little ways they deceived one another. But their conversation ultimately comes to an end when Dabi brings up the point that not a single soul was killed in the conflict thanks to Hawks. Hawks' retort to this statement is that he has to keep up his charade as the number 2 hero, and that the more the public trusts him, the better information he will be able to supply to the League, as his loyalty lies with them. But as Dabi walks away telling him he won't let Hawks meet Shigaraki, the absolutely shocking revelation that Hawks was the traitor all along is immediately thrown away as it's revealed he is actually working undercover for the Hero Safety Commission. Yes, that's right, our beloved bird boy has not defected to the villain side, as he is actually working his way inside the League so he can get as much information on the mysterious group as possible. Although it is interesting to mention that Hawks isn't doing this job by choice, as he not so indirectly alludes to the fact that when he was given the orders to act as a spy by the Commission, he couldn't decline the mission. Ominous again. With this, it cuts back to a quick scene of young Hawks clutching an Endeavour plushie being confronted by the Hero Safety Commission about being a hero after saving a bunch of people from a high-speed incident. Now, if you're wondering why Hawks couldn't decline the mission, or are just interested in learning a bit more about the past and history of this character, you can check out my video here where I explain everything you really need to know about the man himself. But anyway, after his talk with Dabi, Hawks shows up smiling in Endeavour's hospital room, where he internally apologizes to Endeavour for having lied to him and for causing him pain. Also, I really like the fact that in this shot, one of Hawks' wings has that long feather he used on Dabi. It's a nice little touch. And as Hawks is meeting Endeavour, it then cuts back to Dabi, who wistfully and dramatically is looking up at the night sky as he remembers killing the hero Snatch. The reason he is thinking about this moment is because during his small interaction with Endeavour and Hawks, Endeavour called Dabi the person who killed Snatch, and at the time, Dabi had no idea who he was referring to. But as he reminisces about murdering Snatch, he remembers something Snatch said to him. "Have you ever thought about the feelings of those they left behind?" Remembering this line, Dabi wipes a bloody tear from his eye as he replies, "I've thought so much about it, that I've gone crazy. Now that's ominous. Man, there's a lot of ominous stuff in this chapter. But if you want to know what Dabi means by this, you can also check out this video about him here, explaining who he is, where he comes from, and why he does what he does. And with this, the story then cuts back to the heroes. Endeavour and Hawks leave the hospital, and Endeavour essentially tells Hawks that if a big villain attacks again, the two of them will take him down together. That's character development, folks! And so they go their separate ways. Hawks goes to his, bird cage or something, I don't know where this guy lives, and Endeavour goes back to his home, where he is surprisingly greeted by his children Fuyumi, Natsu, and Shoto. That's right, Shoto got permission to leave UA for a bit to see his dad. Now that's character development. In this scene, Fuyumi is delighted to see her family almost entirely back together, and Shoto and Natsu angrily eat while staring fiercely at their father. Upon entering the room, Shoto hits Endeavour with the comment, "Nice scar." Hoo-hoo, damn! I know Endeavour has a fire quirk, but my man just got roasted. Also, the scar on his face is way redder than I thought it would be from the manga, so he actually has a lot more of a resemblance to Shoto now. This family affair almost immediately gets turned on its head, as at the arrival of his father, Natsu storms out of the room ranting about how although everyone else may have forgiven him, he hasn't. He says he can't just forget his mother's screams, Shoto's crying, and what Endeavour did to their older brother, Toya. After Natsu leaves the room in a huff, everyone else left in the room notices a news report playing on the TV. The news report initially talks about the public's frustration with Endeavour not stopping the league, but it quickly turns to a bunch of interviews of people showing their gratitude for Endeavour. Seeing this, Shoto comments how the hero Endeavour is amazing. However, as a father, he feels the same way as Natsu does. Although, unlike Natsu, he wants to see what his father does next, as he knows how something small can change a person. It's really cool to see this full circle moment of how Deku helps Shoto get over his obsession with his father, and because of this growth, Shoto is helping his father get past his obsession with himself. I actually really love Endeavour's character arc. It's so complex, and there are so many layers to his development that there are tons of conflicting opinions on whether or not he is a likable character. Hell, just look at the My Hero Academia fanbase. Some people absolutely despise the guy, while others can't help but respect his work towards being better. Personally, he's actually one of my favorite characters in the entire series. I make fun of him a lot for the jokes, but I honestly believe that he is without a doubt one of, if not the most interesting and well-written characters in the entire series. Whether you love him, or love to hate him, or hate to love him, doesn't really matter. What matters is when he's on screen, he has your attention, and he keeps the story interesting. But anyway, after hearing Shoto's words of hope, Endeavour thinks back to his conversation with All Might about what it really means to be the #1 hero. And to Endeavour, it meant guaranteeing a future for the next generation. And as Endeavour leaves the room to talk to Natsu, the story shifts back to UA, where an overtired Deku is having a premonition about the previous One For All users. In his premonition, he sees all of the previous users lined up, and he gets to witness the memories of the first user and the birth of One For All. We see how All For One gained his title as the Demon King of Villainy, how the sickly, weak, and quirkless first user desperately tried to stop his brother from doing evil, and how All For One forced One For All onto him. It's also important to note that it shows All For One and the first user based their ideologies off a comic book. All For One didn't finish the comic book, so he never saw the villain lose, and so he became like him. The first user did finish it and saw the hero won, so he wanted to be like him. Moral of the story, finish your damn comic books. And the episode comes to an end as after witnessing the first user's memories, the first user begins to talk directly to Deku, telling him we have already passed the singularity, but don't worry, you're not alone. And as Deku wakes up from his premonition in a huff, the episode ends. Overall, it was a great episode. Not much happened in terms of action, but it was full of important plot details, tension, character moments, and ominousness. It's hard to say that word, okay? Although I will say, it was very strange pacing having this extremely important episode right after the fun anime filler one, but I understand they wanted to start the season with an episode that wouldn't deter new fans. However, I am looking forward to the story continuing, and next week we get introduced to the first episode of the new arc, Class 1A versus Class 1B. But let me know what you thought of this episode. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like. And for more My Hero content, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Plus Ultra.